Use a blanket today. Towel works. If the blanket, you don't want it to be too stretchy. You know, some blankets, like that'll be great. Some blankets have a lot of give, and so we want something that's got a little bit less give. Okay, so we're gonna start today using the blanket and just freeing up our waist a little bit. So you'll start with the blanket folded, and we're gonna sit on our shins with the blanket next to us on one side. And blanket does, you know, a couple inches, I guess that's black on dark green, but you know, a couple inches in height is perfect. If you feel things are kind of sticky and gluey around here, you might end up with two blankets. So we're going to start with it on beside one hip. Perfect. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is just let our shins and our thighs roll or yaw so that one cheek is now sitting on the blanket, and our inside heel is kind of between our two butt cheeks is where we end up. And then we're going to come back to center. So from behind, it'll look like this. We just come to a little side sit. You don't have to keep the knees on the floor. Probably your trail leg, that shin and knee, will come off a little bit, and then we'll come back up. Some people might find that the knees need to be a little bit wider apart for there to be space. So don't try to keep the thighs right together. Okay, the next time we bring a cheek over onto that blanket, we're going to take that same side hand and reach across to the opposite knee and then reach over. Oh, I went the wrong way. Opposite hand, same side hand reaches over. So we'll be folding up these ribs, getting length from this hip up to the armpit and fingers. So we'll take an inhale here. Think about filling and breathing into the blanket all the way up to these fingertips. And then on the exhale, really think about folding in this bottom side. You could even pull on the thigh a little bit with the hand. Think of letting that elbow get heavy towards that outside thigh. And then we'll inhale, come back up to center. On an exhale, we'll do that a couple more times. We'll exhale, shift the hips, fold that one side. Nice breath in here. Exhale. If you know you're kind of tight in the back, like between the rib cage and the pelvis, the next couple, let that reach kind of be in front of the body rather than alongside the ear. And that'll bring a stretch around to the QLs, or the muscles that attach between the top of the pelvis and the back of the rib cage. So we'll exhale, come over. Nice, slow inhale and exhale. Almost like folding up the one side like a tin can. And then we'll come back up. Just take a second before we go to the other side. Notice the two halves. Notice how the breath moves in one half and the other half. And then we're going to switch that blanket over to the other side. And again, just start with figuring out the legs on this side based on, like, our hips are different. They're not exactly the same. And so adjust the knees as you need to. The feet might need to come closer together or be further apart. And we're just finding that little side sit. The next time we come over, we're going to reach the opposite hand to the knee, and then drape that arm over top. You can create a little pull of the hand on the knee and like a heaviness of the elbow down towards the thigh or the floor to help fold up that bottom side. Inhale here, nice and slow. Exhale through the nose or the mouth. Maybe when you think your exhale's done, just pause. See if there's a little more. Get all the air out. And then inhale, we'll come back to center. So do that 3 more times. Again, play with where the arm goes. Jane, okay? So again, just scoot the hip, reach and hold that thigh. Good. Yeah, that bottom arm, you can think about that elbow getting heavy, heavy, heavy towards the thigh and the floor. Yeah, it'll help fold up that one side a little bit. Awesome. Inhale and exhale, and then come back up. And we're going to do that one last time. Shift the hips. Really think about getting heavy into that blanket with that top hip. Inhale here. Exhale. The end of the exhale, see if there's just a little bit more. Fold up that bottom side. Good. And come on back up. So the muscles on that bottom side really dictate how much space we can get on that top side. If they don't contract and fold things in, then this side won't lengthen. Okay? Okay, from there, we're going to come on to our hands and knees. And we're going to keep working with that kind of one side folding up concept. It's also referred to as like coiling on one side. So on the hands and knees, what we're going to do is same side hand, same side knee. So let's go with the left. We're going to think about shifting kind of that left hip back, and then we're going to take that knee and left hand forward. Okay, then we're going to shift back into that left hip. Take the right hand and knee forward. Shift back into that right hip, left. So each time before we take a hand and knee forward, we shift the opposite hip back ever so slightly. That unweights and lets us bring a hand and knee forward at the same time. Okay, the next time you bring a hand and knee to the ground, I want us to find that folding or bringing the elbow towards the top of that hip, kind of like the shape we did in sitting in that seated side bend, and really feel that connection from the armpit down to the top of the pelvis. So if you were looking from the top, I've shifted a hand and knee forward, and these guys are crunching. This hand and knee are on the ground. So if you looked from the top, this would be the shape. Then I sit back in that hip, and I take the other one forward. So there's this little lateral bend that starts to happen each time you take, that's it, Jane, a hand and knee forward. So now take that hand and knee forward, and you'll change that side bend and coil the other side. Yes, beautiful. Good. See if hips can stay level and it be truly more of like rib cage, top of the pelvis action. Rib cage, top of the pelvis, rib cage, top of the pelvis. There'll be a little drop of that hip that comes forward towards the floor, but it shouldn't be a big sense as if you had a block on your pelvis. It wouldn't cause the block to come off. because we don't want this hip dropping. I have to go quite far to get it to fall off. Good, yep. Nice, and then same thing when you take it back. That looks great. Okay, good. Okay, one change, and then we'll move on from this. Instead of being on the hands and knees, and you can stay hands and knees, we're going to tuck the toes under and bring ourselves up so the knees are off the ground and we're in a bit of a bear position instead. Same thing, shift back into a hip, hand and foot come forward, hand and foot come forward. Find that little lateral coil on the same side as that hand. Yes, good. As that hand and foot come forward. Great. And just like you figured out, the hand has to come off a millisecond before the knee comes forward or there's not space. Brilliant. Good. Yeah, and then take it back. Awesome. Okay, we're going to do one more pass of that. What I want us to focus on is in this hands and knee bear position, watch my heels. So I can have like my feet straight, or I can have my heels in slightly. I want us to try heels in. Heels in doesn't mean knees out. Heels in can just be heels in. And then as that hand and foot go forward, think of heel over heel and see if you can speed it up. See how quick you can go, same side, with that little heel in action. Yes, beautiful. Think heel over heel. That's it. Yes, same side. Beautiful. That's feeling good. You want to do one more pass? Awesome. Well done. Okay. Any questions on that? Good. Should feel the body temperature is like up. We were using some global muscles. I know I'm regretting the hoodie at this moment in my cold studio, but it's okay to get a little bit. Have the temperature, core temperature go up a little bit. Okay, we're going to use our blanket now a little bit differently in that we're going to place it in front of the shins and then we're going to hold it. So could hold it on this top edge. Some people are going to find it works better for them to hold down on this bottom edge. So kind of play with where you end up holding the blanket. And what we're going to do is on an exhale, we're going to pull in and roll onto our back. And then we're going to come back up to seated. The whole object is we want to feel a rounding of that low lumbar. So some of us are going to find we start to roll and it's like flat. And then we have to use momentum to come back up. So just notice that. Again, try the different hand grip because lower down, it limits the belly from expanding. And so what happens is then the air kind of goes more to that low back where the lumbar and the sacrum meet one another. So we'll take an inhale here. Exhale. Think about pulling up low abdomen up to the collarbones on the exhale rather than crunching down from the top. And we're just going to roll back and up, trying to get more flexion in that low part of our spine. The more we can use the exhale and like from the low abs up, the more rounding we'll get down there. Try rolling off onto one cheek slightly. So it ends up being those muscles that we stretched between the rib cage and the pelvis. It's like we're rolling off to that side. And then come center again for a couple. Hopefully you're feeling like your roll starts to speed up and there's less of that like flat. Okay, so we're gonna just lock out one shin, and so one leg's gonna be long. You could do this too with a belt. It doesn't have to be a blanket, but I do like the blanket. Density for grip can be really nice. So we're gonna secure the one leg in. The one leg's gonna be freewheeling. So when we roll back, it's gonna tuck in, and then to come up, reach it long. So we end up coming into this single leg lever seated position. Okay, so exhale, roll back, inhale, roll up. Good. Couple more like that. Hugging that one knee to the chest. You can play with what you do with the toes, like we have in past weeks. Could be that the toes and the heel lift. Maybe you curl or claw the toes under. Good. The next time we roll back onto our back, pause there. We're going to take that leg that's long and reach it out to the side. To the degree that it reaches out and we don't roll to the side with that other leg. So to the degree that that other shin can counterbalance that leg out to the side, and then we're going to pull it up. We could shorten that lever, bending the knee, same thing, out and in. Again, it might be that we inhale to go out, exhale from the low abs, hollow to bring the leg back up. 2 more times. I like to also think of, when I bring the leg up, of the knee reaching out from the hip. Good. Okay, bring that blanket from the shin that it was on onto that foot. And we could leave it draped like so, or you could fold it so it's a little smaller and less draping over to make it more challenging in a different way. So blanket is on the foot, and from here, I want you to think again like heel in and out without moving the whole leg, just the heel. So it's going to be teeny tiny. Now start to let the heel move the whole leg. So the rest of the leg is going to follow the heel. So as the heel goes in, you'll feel how the knee goes out, how the shin turns, the thigh turns. See if you can have that leg turn as you roll from your back to your belly. So the heel will go out to roll you from your back to your belly. And then you can just come back onto your back, place the blanket. Heel will go out to roll you from your back to your belly. That's it. Heel lead, heel lead, heel lead, heel lead, heel lead. You'll feel how the shin and the thigh gotta spin that knee. Oh, nice. Okay. Now the next time you go from back to belly, go from belly back to your back with the blanket. Again, think of picture in your mind's eye, where is that heel? If somebody was there with you holding your heel in the front of your foot, turning the foot, how does the rest of the body organize around that movement? And just open the blanket up a bit so that you get the weight, but you don't have to worry about the balance. It'll help the proprioceptors in the brain get a better spatial map of what has to happen in the foot and the leg to move you from your back. Yes, 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 yes. You feel how the knee has to sweep around. Beautiful. And then sometimes I have to look over my shoulder to see that foot to get back from my belly to my back to start out. Yes, yes, yes. Spin the knee towards the chest, towards the chest. You got it. Awesome. Okay, and then you can work to balancing your sneaker on your foot. But it's harder the lighter the object is. The weight helps give us some feedback. Yes. Yeah, a yoga block works too, but sometimes, again, if it's a foam one, it's too airy. There isn't enough pressure into the receptors of the feet to feel very successful with it. A sandbag can be really nice too, like a yoga sandbag, because then you actually have some weight into that leg that you can work against to map the movement from the foot to the hip. Okay, awesome. So we're going to come to that other side. We're anchoring that shin. And we've got that leg reached out long. So we tuck that leg in to roll us back. And then we're going to take that lever long to bring us up. A shorter lever moves us quicker. A longer lever moves more weight. So it's not that one is harder or easier. It just depends. Do you want to speed something up or do you want to slow something down? Can start to be the conversation. Okay. The next time we go back, that leg's up to the ceiling. And again, we're going to take it out to the side, either long or with the knee bent short. And we want to just move the leg to the degree that it moves in our pelvis and doesn't have us roll to follow it. Again, there's no judgment on that getting it to the ground is better than not getting it to the ground. Okay. And then we're going to take that leg to the ceiling and place it on the floor and put the blanket over the foot of the shin we were just hugging in. And we can play with the toes here too. You know, what happens if you think of lifting the toes away from the blanket and pulling the heel away from the blanket simultaneously? You'll feel some stuff kind of activate in the ankle and the lower leg. What if we keep the heel pulling away from the blanket and we think of like retracting the toes, and then we start to take that heel, spin it in, spin it out, let the whole leg follow it, and then start to make our way from our back onto our belly. And if you want to, you can go straight from your belly back onto your back, but you can just take a few times to just map that movement from your back to your belly and just get back on your back any way you want. Feel the heel move first, let it spin the knee. Remember, the knee's got to come to the chest, to the chest, to the chest. Yeah, good. Usually the second side's easier because it learned from the first side. It learned the tips and tricks from that first side. Beautiful. Okay, finish off with this last one. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. Okay. We're going to take that blanket to finish off and come up to seated. And so we're holding the ends of the blanket. The blanket's kind of going to act like a yoga strap. So each of us is going to need, based on our arm limb length and leg limb length, we might need our blanket folded this way. We might need to open our blanket up a bit more. Okay. From here, if you can, tuck a bit of blanket under your heels. And you might want to fold, I think the blanket will slide on the yoga mat, even on a yoga mat. What we're going to do is from here, we're going to take our upper body and it's going to go towards the feet as the feet track out from us. When either our upper body stops moving or our feet stop moving, that's our end point. And then we're going to fold back up tight into that ball. Okay. Now this is where we might want to take our inhale here, kind of having our thighs block the abdomen. So we get an inhale and stretch out the back stuff. And then as we exhale, hollow from the pubic bone up to the throat as we take the torso forward and reach the legs out long. And again, when either the torso stops moving or the legs stop moving, we're no longer rotating at the hip. We're going to stop. And then we'll inhale, curl ourselves back in. Exhale. Good. Inhale, fold up. Exhale. Push into the resistance of the blanket. Might be that the elbows bend and the arms fold up, keeping the seal between the belly and the thighs as best you can. Good. One last time. Inhale, fold up. Exhale. Use the arms to pull you into the legs. Good. You're going to relax the pull on the blanket. Keep that seal, seal, seal. And then we're going to inhale here and exhale, roll up one vertebra at a time. Good. Just to finish, we're going to take that in the opposite direction. So we'll place the feet on the floor, bring the hands beside the hips. Fingers could point in the direction of the feet. They could point out, they can point away from the feet. So your shoulders and arms are going to dictate where the hands point, the fingers point. From there, you're going to press into the feet, reach the knees away from the head. The heels can come off the ground. And we're going to lift the belly towards the ceiling. And then exhale, swing the belly back between the hands again. Good. Inhale. Pull the heels towards the bum. Reach the knees away from the head. Hands press into the ground. Swing the hips back between those hands. Again, if your arms are shorter than your torso or your torso is longer than your arms, you might need yoga blocks underneath the hands to get the hips back to the ground, or you can curl forward a little bit. No big deal. One more time, pull the heels towards the hands, reach the knees away from the head. And then we're going to come down, roll to one side, hand is underneath. We're just going to press up onto the knees, reach that top arm to the floor, roll that top shoulder and hand in front. Gaze goes to the floor, hips lower down. We'll swing those legs around to the other side. Hand on the ground. It's roughly slightly forward of the shoulder. Press the knees into the floor, lift the hips. We'll take that top arm. Really lift those hips towards the ceiling. Think of getting yourself into like a rainbow shape here. Roll that top, shoulder, head, so your gaze goes to the floor as you release those hips back on down. Just come to sit on your shins. Inhale those arms up. Wrap them around. Give yourself a tight squeeze and a great pat on the back. Lovely, lovely work. Have a beautiful rest of your day.